kid that develops into a draftable player who was a damn good lockdown corner. He's developed other kids in the secondary who have become really good defensive backs at the college level. Would I like him to pick it up recruiting wise? You're damn right I would. But I'd like the entire team to pick it up recruiting wise. I think Rumpf gets singled out because he lost the American Heritage kids, which really hurt because he had a relationship with those kids. The rest of these kids, they're fickle. They want to win championships. They want to go to places where they're going to win 10, 11 games and play in a major bowl game. Right now, Miami's fighting against that. What Manny's done recruiting and in the portal is nothing short of amazing. But I can't single out Mike Rumpf just and look at him and go, well, we got to get rid of him because of his lack of recruiting. Our offensive line up until now with Garin Justice has been dreadful recruiting. Linebackers, if we don't fall into three really good linebackers in McLeod, Shaq Quarterman, and Michael Pinckney, when's the last good linebacker we signed outside? I know those kids were there for 4 years, but this year it's going to be, all right, thankfully McLeod stayed. I hope Sam Brooks can live up to some of the hype, but we haven't really loaded up there. When's the last time we loaded up at defensive tackle? I know Nesta was a high-ranked recruit. The rest of these kids are, 3/4-star guys. We haven't really knocked it out of the park anywhere recruiting. And I think Mike Rumpf, because he lost his own high school kids, he's a guy that gets a bad rap.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I do think you can kind of separate our position coaches into like two factions, the good recruiters and the bad recruiters. I would have like Pat Key, probably Baker in there, and then Rumpf in our not so great recruiters. I do think Rumpf gets unfairly singled out in that group. However, I do think he's fairly solidified in the group of being a bad recruiter among our coaches. Looking at the type of guys that Stephen Field brings in and Eric Hickson and, Justice has been, he's just been pulling gem after gem out of his hat. And Manny, when he's hit the trail, has had some success too. I don't think it's fair to just say that Rumpf gets a pass because of our record when like Hickson is doing work, man. Like Eric Hickson is pulling some really, really, really great players out of high school. And, I just think it does the job he's doing a disservice to let Rumpf get a pass for our record.
No, I agree. And I don't give him a pass. I do think he's a mediocre to average recruiter at best. I mean, let's be honest. Al Blade's the kid who could have gone anywhere, and he got him. Gilbert Frierson could have gone anywhere. DJ Ivey could have gone anywhere. So he's gotten kids to stay home. He just hadn't gotten enough. Trajan Bandy could have gone anywhere. He just hasn't gotten enough, and that's the issue. When you're looking in your own backyard and you see 5-star, 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 and they end up at Alabama, Clemson, and Florida, you go, how the hell did C.J. Henderson leave here? How did Josh Jobe leave here? Although I haven't heard much of Josh Jobe since he's gotten to Alabama. How'd Pat Surtain leave here and you coached him? How'd Tyson Campbell leave here and you coached him? He doesn't get a pass for that. But the guys that he gets on campus, he's developed them to be pretty good players. And I think we get lost a little bit in just recruiting. Player development has to be good as well. And when you have good player development, sometimes that to me will overshadow the misses on the recruiting trail. But Rumpf has to pick it up. I give him that. Do I think he's on the hot seat? No. If Manny had a year that he was going to fire him, it should have been this year.
Yeah.
And, if you want to go that, who the hell are we pulling at wide receiver? Because we should be much more loaded than we are at wide receiver right now.
I'll
be honest.
Wide receivers committed right now. 0.
Yeah. And we don't have a difference maker at wide receiver right now.
Yeah.
There's never a time, and I like KJ Osborne came in and was a star last year. There shouldn't be a time that a kid that transfers from the University of Buffalo becomes the number one at the University of Miami. Part of that, Dan Enos's offense sucked ass. I mean, it was horrible. But you have to find playmakers, and we're not finding them as of right now.
And to go along with what you're saying, because I completely agree, and this speaks towards the type of kid that KJ is, but also it's unacceptable that a kid from the University of Buffalo transfers in and is not only our most skilled, hardest working player that's immediately the leader in the locker room, but he is the most I mean, air quote, Miami player in that whole room. And
Yeah, you know what it is? He doesn't believe in the hype. Yeah, he doesn't buy into the hype of wearing the U. He went in and I'm not at practice, but everybody said he worked his ass off from the day he got on campus. He was tougher in the weight room. He worked harder after practice. We need more kids like that. I'm hoping that now with Rhett Lashley's offense and these receivers knowing, oh shit, I might catch 75, 80 balls like Prochet did a year ago at SMU. I better get my ass in and start working. Mark Pope should be a star. But Mark Pope is no better today than he was the day that he set foot on campus almost 3 years ago. And that has to change. And that's, again, going back to the Mike Rump thing. His kids, you see progression.
Yeah.
When's the last receiver that we've seen progression out of?
That's a very good point. And I agree with you about Rump. I think that's what's keeping him here. I'm definitely more in the camp of, I think I'm ready to move on from him. But I think as long as he keeps developing guys, I mean, if Blades has a really fantastic year, or Ivy or Couch, or, Christian Williams was even getting some hype from the 4 days of spring ball. If one of those guys breaks out, then Rumpf might buy himself some more time. But I'm just very concerned at the trajectory of our cornerbacks room in terms of how much talent and even how many guys we have in there. We don't even have a lot of bodies in that room right now. So
yeah, and that part sucks. And you're spot on with that. I mean, God forbid if Al Blades goes down, I don't know. Corey Couch may be really good. Christian Williams may be really good. Who was a kid we brought in late this year that was a 4-star? Yeah, he may end up being very good. But you're talking about 3 kids in those 3 that haven't played any meaningful football. So we really need Blades. We really need Ivy. Those guys got to stay healthy. We would have loved to have Trajan Bandy come back another year. That didn't happen. And something else I'm going to put together. I've got 2 different things to put together. One of them, I'm not going to lie, Manny Navarro actually wrote an article that I kind of had spot on where it equated the draft and Miami being good. But another one, and I want to ask you guys this because I literally just went to New Orleans, one of the hot spots, quote unquote, for the coronavirus. I just was in Savannah and Hilton Head where the beaches are open. I spent 2 days laying on the beach with my kids around thousands of other people. If football opens up, and this is something I'm going to ask on State of the U and get some opinion from a lot of different people. If football opens up, just say September 5th, we open against Temple, and the stadium's open, will you be there as we stand currently?
Hell yeah.
So my mom is high risk. I don't know if I'd go to the opener, but if there was no problems, then I'd definitely go to a game in late October or early November.
Yeah, and I'm definitely I've already made plans. I'll be honest. We play here in Atlanta against Georgia Tech. That's a no doubter for me. I'll go down for the Florida State game, depending on what I'm doing work-wise at that time. I may go down and, go to another game or 2, probably try to go to the North Carolina game as well. But, I've gotten in a lot of arguments with people on social media about, the coronavirus and what we should be doing. The state I live in right now has been open for 3 weeks. I've been at the gym every single day. I've used this time to try to, better myself more than anything. But I'm always trying to get the pulse of people, what they're going to do. I have friends that work in the industry with me that say we shouldn't do anything until there's a vaccine. And then I have other people like me, Barrett Sallee, who writes for CBS Sports, a really good friend of mine. Barrett's like, dude, we cannot stay cooped up in our house for another year and a half. We just can't. Yeah. And, if basketball, hell, if they had playoffs tomorrow, I'd be at the playoffs tomorrow watching some NBA.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta get out of this damn house. I have to.
That's where I'm lucky. I was saying that's where I'm lucky living in Georgia. Things are open. I mean, it's almost back to normal. You still can't really go sit in a restaurant crowded full of people. Bars and nightclubs aren't open, but I'll be honest, I'm 45. My days of bars and nightclubs are very limited at this point. But
sorry, go ahead, brother.
No, I'm saying, but the gym's open and there's 200 people in the gym every day. I don't give a damn. I'm in there lifting weights, running on the treadmill. My boxing gym opens tomorrow, so I can go start punching things. So I'm good.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean they're pretty. I mean, Jordan, wouldn't you say they're like things are getting kind of back to normal here in Utah at least?
Yeah, I ate inside of a restaurant last night. I got some Vietnamese food and sat down with the girlfriend, so that was fun.
There you go.
It's the first time in a few months, so I think it's kind of getting back to normal here. I'm kind of with you though, John. Like I think this thing was kind of overblown. I mean, I'm no expert. I'd be kind of surprised if it gets really bad again and we have to go through all this, but I just I do think I'm personally going to be a little more cautious, but I'm all for governments, making the steps to reopen everything.
Yeah, I'm there, and seeing all the stuff that's come out in the last 3 to 4 days about college football. I know the Pac-12 with California and Oregon. Maybe the Pac-12 doesn't open in September. Yeah. That's a them problem. I think the rest of the country is going to do whatever they can. I think the Pac-12 is going to do whatever they can to play football. There's too many billions of dollars at stake for us not to have college football.
Especially in the South, man.
If all we miss out on is the Pac-12, I'm not feeling too bad. It's very mediocre football out here.
Wait, so John, if you had to guess, do you think that Hard Rock Stadium is open to the public on September 5th?
No, I don't think so. I think there's going to be, if it is open, it's going to be on a limited basis. Everybody I've talked to has said, look, the NBA and baseball are probably going to do at least a month or more without fans. I just find it hard to believe that we're going to be 65,000 strong week one. I think by the time the season's over, we'll be back to having full fans in the stands. I think they'll do something on a limited basis, and I hate to take shots at our fan base. It won't kill us if they do, 30 or 40% for some of the grab-ass games that we play early on in the year. And by the time we get to conference play, I think they'll open it up, which should help Miami because I think so many people are going to go, wait, I haven't had a chance to go see them play Temple or Wagner or one of these other grab-ass schools. And I think that can help us when we play the North Carolinas and the Florida States of the world. I think people are going to come out and be ready to cheer on the thing that they love the most, and that's the University of Miami.
I might be going down to cover those first 3 games for State of the U. I might be all by myself.
You might be. It'll be you, and it'll be Cam, and maybe a couple of people from 560, whatever the hell they're called now, the Joe, I guess. No longer. It's still QAM to me, but that's a whole different story. But yeah, the only reason I didn't take some of the credentials, and I'll be honest, I can't sit in the press box. I can't sit there and not cheer. The last time I was in the press box for a Miami game, we played Georgia Tech. Must have been 2008 because Robert Marv was the quarterback. If we won, we would have gone to the ACC championship game. And, living in Atlanta, I was like, I don't have to pay for tickets. I'll get a press pass. I'll sit front row of the press box, 50-yard line. And Miami got their ass kicked. And I left in the third quarter because I was so mad. And all the Georgia Tech beat writers were laughing because they all know I'm a Miami fan. And I couldn't stand there and just scream like I wanted to. So unless I'm working sidelines where I'm on the field, I will never go sit in the press box for a Miami game.
Yeah, I've covered one game in the press box, and it, I really wish I was like in the orange lot tailgating, or I was in the west end zone. So I think I'll just stick to that, man.
Yeah, the tailgating, and even if you sit in the 300 level, it's better than sitting in the press box. I was lucky all the years working with the Falcons. I'm down on the field, so I could cheer. I actually got some dirty looks because I've yelled at officials a few too many times when they made terrible calls. So I can only imagine if I was down there with Joe and Don Bailey Jr., I'd have to keep my mic off. I don't know how Josh does it down on the sidelines and it's nice and calm because I would be too into the game, either yelling at the players, the coaches, or the referees, one or the other.
Absolutely. Well, John, thank you so much for coming on, brother. We love when you join the show. Whenever you want to come on, just let us know. Hope you and your family are staying safe out there, and we'll keep in touch, brother.
Anytime, guys. You got my link. Just hit me up whenever you want. We could do this weekly, monthly, whatever you want to do. I'll always talk some Canes football with you. You guys be safe as well.
Hey, thanks, John. You have a good one, bro.
See you guys.
Bye. Dude, he's a legend. What a legend.
I'm ready to do the Oklahoma drill.
Oh yeah, man. I'm so hyped. I'm so hyped. Like I wish that I was in the parking lot of a stadium going to see Miami FSU right now.